Hey, and welcome back to Behind the Business Chat. Every business has a story, and I'm setting out to learn the stories behind some of Chattanooga's most loved businesses. This week, I had the wonderful opportunity to speak with Nate and Kristen, owners of Lorenzen Farm. Lorenzen Farm is a seasonal flower farm located in Dayton, Tennessee. They grow tulips in the spring and various wildflowers throughout the summer months. But working a flower farm is actually a year-long dedication. I'm very excited to be able to share this chat with you as we discuss more about the business and what goes into this local flower farm. Now, let's meet Nate and Kristen.
I am Kristen Lorenzen, and I am the co-owner of Lorenzen Farm.
Nate Lorenzen. I'm the other owner. Actually, she owns the farm. I just work for her.
If you could just share a brief story about how you started the farm. I know we've gone over this, but that was a long time ago. That was back when you were doing strawberries. So, but yeah, if we could just start from the beginning, like what prompted you to get into farming, buying the land, and all that.
We started with buying the property. Piece of property came up for sale that was, connected to our backyard here, and we had no farming experience, no idea of what we were doing, and we started off deciding that we would grow strawberries because Dayton was already a strawberry
Community.
Yeah, we have a strawberry festival here. There are other strawberry farmers, so we figured out it would be a good fit. So we did strawberries for 9 seasons, and we were a U-Pick strawberry farm for a good part of that, and we just learned as we went. It was a lot of trial by fire, trial by error. So we got our feet wet into some farming practices, and through that we ended up growing kind of on the side flowers. We grew flowers as sort of a side business. Just flowers were just a passion of mine, and I was making bouquets and getting into the flower business and helping supply for showers and weddings and doing a little bit of that. But it was taking a lot of time and a lot of effort to do the strawberries, and then I was trying to grow every flower imaginable. And so in our quest to figure out a way to simplify things, we landed on growing tulips, and that's how we ended up being a tulip farm.
We wanted to do one kind of flower essentially, instead of 15, 20.
Instead of the mass of...
Yeah. And we knew the agritourism aspect of farming was good with the U-Pick strawberries. So we thought, well, if we can just grow one kind of flower that people would enjoy, we could offer that as a U-Pick instead of trying to supply florists or showers and that sort of thing. So because of the strawberries and the agritourism that we saw potential in, we decided to kind of transfer that to flowers and tulips specifically.
So when you started with doing like the floral arrangements and stuff like that, would you have just like the backfield was your own personal flowers to pick from basically?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. You had that going on in the background while the strawberries were out front.
We had the strawberries go. We were both still working full time and young kids, and
that's a lot. And I remember you telling me that strawberry farming is not easy because people just assume, oh, you pick strawberries in the spring and that's it. But it takes all year to prep the fields, plant the fields, keep an eye on them during the winter and all that. So
it's definitely a year round, which we almost find that with just about every crop.
Yeah, we didn't think tulips were going to be, but they are.
They keep us busy all year long.
Yeah.
But that's good. It's good too.
And now you offer summer flowers too. So like you do sunflowers and other.
Yes,
we do. Like considered a wildflower? Okay. Yeah.
I call them wildflower. I mean, they're
still planted, but yeah. I'm not sure what. I guess a wildflower would be something that grows in nature on its own, so it could be specified as that. But wouldn't just about any flower be considered a wildflower technically?
Yeah.
If you use that definition.
It's usually just kind of a mix of whatever. We're growing, and different things seem to do better certain years, and so
we're still figuring it out.
We're definitely still learning. We are not experts at any of this by far.
So when did that start? So like you went from strawberries to tulips to then adding the other flowers in the summertime.
The sunflowers are also considered a cover crop, so it is a crop that generally will help the soil and help.
And it's for pollinators.
Yes, because I'm a beekeeper also. So those were things that we were already doing actually before we opened it up as a farm. We were planting sunflowers and wildflowers and things as part of our rotation of cover cropping and keeping the soil healthy and taking care of our bees. So it just kind of grew, and people people loved it. They always asked for it. So we were like, well, let's just scale it up a little bit and open it up to the public.
So what made you want to open up to the public, even just starting with the strawberries? Like, you have the farm property and everything. You could have just kept that to yourselves and then just, picked on your own, taken it to a market or something.
We love the community aspect of it and just getting to meet the people that are getting your product. You're building relationships, and it's always a morale boost when they're appreciative of the work that you're doing. And a lot of times our customers want to see how we're growing things, get a little glimpse of the farm life. And
Yeah.
I think, do you have anything to
Yeah,
add to that?
and on the business side, we didn't have access to labor, so we even when we were doing strawberries, we didn't hire contract labor. We picked the berries ourselves, and an older gentleman we would pay to pick.
Our children.
And our children. So it was because we were the ones doing all the labor and the harvesting. It kind of made sense to do a U-pick. We could sell our berries for a little bit cheaper, and it brought the community in, gave them a good experience, and we didn't have to actually physically pick the berries ourselves. So, because we picked a lot of berries.
Farming hack 101.
Years.
Have the public pick for you.
I've picked a lot of berries, and I got tired.
Well, as a former teacher too, I love the educational aspect of it. I think it's important for our kids to know, where their food comes from, where how the flowers are grown, how things actually work. It doesn't all just magically appear, at the grocery store. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, I love that part of it.
I know you shared this story with me in the past. What made you want to get into farming? So you said you saw the property for sale and you bought it, but what inspired you to go ahead and try your hand at farming?
Well, when we bought the property, and I don't know that we necessarily had farming as a plan. I think it was kind of in the back of my mind, but I wanted more land for our kids to roam around on, and I knew there was a potential there to do something, but I grew up in St. Pete, Florida, so I didn't have any agricultural experience. I tried to grow, but I always enjoyed it. When I was younger, I did move some of the sand around and plant some corn and some tomatoes that never did anything because nothing grows in sand.
Yeah.
You need to have some some good soil.
I grew up in Sarasota, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes. So, but I did have an interest in it, and I knew I had an interest in it. So once we bought the land and we had it, and maybe a year went by or so, we had a small garden here at this house. So we were gardening, and it's like, okay, well let's see if we can grow something that may be profitable for us. Strawberries never were, but yeah, I mean, it was a desire when I was younger. It grew in. She was never a fan of the strawberry farm, I don't think. But when we switched to flowers, then it kicked in. Yeah, then it kicked in for her, and
I think his passion was big equipment, machinery.
I enjoy it so much. I mean, I don't care what I'm growing. I mean, we're flower farmers now, so I could be growing soybeans out there, and I'd enjoy it. I mean, I just like turning soil and planting seeds.
And we've always been outdoors kind of people.
Yeah.
We just like being outdoors. I mean, whether it's hiking or camping or, anything to bring us outside, and especially when our kids were young, to keep them off of screens and keep them busy, and we just like the outdoors. So it was a good fit for us, definitely.
Yeah. So now that it's been a while, do you feel like your kids have developed, good farming skills, or
Well, they've developed a good work ethic, for sure. So all three of them, they're the best employees you could ever want for a company. It's the work ethic is doesn't matter what they're doing. They show up for work and they do a good job. So
we knew that way back in the day, that we always called it character building. Like when they would fuss and complain, it was like, no, we're building your character. And so that, for that reason, it was worth everything we did.
Yeah.
Really got a sense of what it is to work hard and to be proud of what you're doing and to work as a team. I mean, they were contributing to our family, and we needed them, and that was a great great give and take.
I can guarantee you not a single one of them are going to be strawberry farmer. I mean, they were picking berries at 8, 9 years old when everybody else was on playing video games.
Planting berries, picking berries, learning how to run the weed eater, ride the tractor.
And wasn't it one of your son's ideas to do the strawberries? Wasn't that where the idea for that crop came from too?
Ben did, yeah.
Ben was the one who said.
He was young.
Did he regret that later?
There was a time we had considered growing, doing the vegetable route, growing tomatoes and squash and garlic. I think was on the. We were thinking of all these things.
Garlic.
And yeah, Ben was like, oh, no, no. Can we grow something I actually like?
Yeah.
Strawberries.
That makes sense.
So,
Good logic.
Yeah. It was fun. It was educational.
Yeah. So then, I know things are still growing and evolving. Do you have any future plans that you can share about, or things that are in the works?
We have future plans. I don't know if
I'm always a little leery of sharing stuff just because
I
I don't
understand.
know if it's going to work or not.
Right.
but-
You don't want to be like, yeah,
don't
next
wanna
season
gin it
we're
up.
going to have this, this, and this.
Yeah.
And the next season rolls around and people are like, where is this? And you're like, well, that kind of fell through.
I mean, the biggest plan is to keep growing the flower, the tulip farm, and making it larger, even better experience. That will continue. It's just whether or not we introduce anything else, I don't know yet.
We do have some other fields of things that are coming, and I'm learning, and everything we grow, we're just learning and experimenting and seeing if it will do well enough to be a product that we can offer to the community.
We've got some products in the crock pot. It takes time to simmer and to cook. So we've been working on some stuff for 4 years now, maybe 5 years. That hopefully maybe will be ready in a year or two. Not Christmas trees.
Was that a request by somebody?
People are always telling us to grow Christmas trees or pumpkins.
We're not doing pumpkins,
No.
and we're not doing Christmas trees.
Funny.
Flowers, we're sticking with flowers
Yeah,
at this point.
yeah, we're
so.
sticking with flowers.
Yeah, I would imagine Christmas trees is a whole other animal to deal with.
Yeah.
Plus, doesn't that hog up your field for
Forever.
yeah, basically.
Pretty much.
Yep.
You just kind of have to commit to that. That's your only crop at that
And
point.
there is a nice little Christmas tree farm in Harrison, Campbell's Christmas Tree Farm, that we go to. That does a
Another
very similar,
family.
another family that we know, and they've got a great little Christmas tree farm going.
Yeah, there are some local ones. I know there's some in North Georgia as well. And I
Yeah.
personally have not been to any of them. I want to go ahead and cover it for the blog and everything, but I just haven't yet because I haven't been in a position where I could even have a real Christmas tree to begin with. Always lived in apartments. You're not allowed to have them in apartments because they're a fire hazard.
Oh, really?
You're only allowed to have fake trees.
Okay.
Yeah. And then currently live with my mother-in-law, so she's already got her fake tree and all her stuff going on. Yeah. So haven't had the need for a real Christmas tree yet. So with the tulips, you've been offering more varieties every year? Has that been what's happening? I just didn't really pick up on that. Or maybe I did. I probably did put that in there.
We do. We're growing in numbers every year, and with varieties, I'm always trying to add something new, something maybe that we haven't seen before. We do try to do like the early, mid, and late season varieties to stretch out the season. It doesn't always work that way. Sometimes the weather gets really hot and they all come at once, or it's cold, whatever. So you really can't just predict how it's going to be, but yeah, every year we're trying to.
But we add different shades of colors every year because there's probably
so
thousands of different color varieties.
Really?
So we pick out new ones, and
Some of the fancier varieties are a little more temperamental, so I like to add in a few of those, but not tons of them because they are pickier and more expensive and a little more frilly. But you want to have a little mix of all the different kinds.
And
They'll always tell me their favorites, so
Yeah.
I've got to I try to make everybody happy.
And we do order new bulbs every year. So every year we do have specific kind of color grids that you work on, and we order based on what kind of the desires that you have. So every year is a new season. It's a different field every year.
Yeah. Plus you rotate, right?
We
with
rotate
that?
we rotate a little bit in the rows themselves and in the fields. So if you came a couple of years ago, it was planted in a different section of the field. That's now the parking lot. Now we're in the back, and then we have areas that we can expand to and try to make it fresh every year.
The funny thing is that a lot of times people will tell me what they love the most and what their favorite flower is, and it is typically whatever I have the least of.
Of course.
If I grow a lot of one kind, or sometimes certain colors are just do better for whatever reason, and the season of it all. But yeah, so if there ends up being like very few whites, or people are just like, oh, the white tulips are wonderful, or if I just have a few purples and there's tons of reds and pink, everybody like
Scarcity.
we just love the purple. So yeah, it's whatever I have the least of that people think, oh, these are the best.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody goes for the rare stuff anyways, so that's kind of how that works. Like, what's not here? That's what I want.
There's always something. But we do our best to get as many colors as we can possibly get.
Yeah.
Get it all in the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this last summer was the first time I had come for like the summer flowers. I didn't even realize you had that whole backfield. Like, I didn't even realize that was part of the property, as well. So, was that your private flower farm before?
Actually, that was an area, well, part of that area was fully wooded. So
Okay.
when we realized we needed to move back there, we needed more space. That has been a full-time job, getting
Clearing that out and
woods
prepping it.
ready to be
Yeah.
farmed it's a huge undertaking and took a lot of
It's
our
been
time.
fun though, because we get to keep the trees that we want to keep, and some of the stuff that's not, maybe, I don't know, is on its way out, deadfall, we can clear all that out, and it's been fun to
He's a great woodworker, so
create.
taking trees down, fun. Yeah.
So, what have you done with the trees that you've taken down?
I use the wood for a lot of projects. We'll build stuff for the farm. I mill it, make it into boards, and I just kind of stack and save, and I'll build some furniture here for the house. We'll build some stuff for some people. It's all
Whatever
used.
needs to be done,
Yeah.
But a lot of fencing.
A lot of fencing.
A lot of fencing. We
Yeah.
do a lot of fencing.
Yeah.
And redo fencing, and then redo more fencing.
Yeah.
I've always heard,
Deer are pretty detrimental to us.
It's always a battle.
Yeah. So the deer do they like eating tulips? Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they will get in and even dig up the bulbs.
Oh, wow.
themselves. So they will eat the bulbs, they'll eat the little baby shoots, they'll eat the flower heads.
They'll eat.
like it all.
Yeah. If it, usually it's around February when food is scarce. They'll go for anything, and so they'll go for tulip bulbs, and they'll get their little spade and shovel, and they'll dig them up out of the ground.
The spade and shovel that's in their mouth.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a battle for us, definitely.
It is, and I don't mind if they take a little bit. We can have a balance. But it's when they get real selfish and they want the whole thing.
Exactly.
That's when we got to keep them out. So we do the best we can. Fencing has always been one of our challenges.
Because strawberries they're a big favorite for deer.
Sure.
So the amount of money and time we have spent in fencing.
I wouldn't even want to know the totals.
It's ridiculous.
Wow.
But you gotta have a tall fence is really all that works, and we try to keep it kind of hidden so nobody sees it. But when you do that, then you have a lot of maintenance and repair because tree limbs are going to fall on it, trees are going to fall on it. So you're constantly repairing it, and unless you check it, once a tree falls, the deer are going to see it and they're going to scoot on over. And
Yep.
And if it's in the woods,
Yeah.
we may not see
we don't see
it
it,
away.
but we try to keep it in the woods, even though that's not ideal. Just because I don't want a large fence. But you can't help it in some areas. But
Right. So how tall is it? Is it like 6 foot tall?
no, you got to go 10 feet, really.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking the other day because my mother-in-law likes to have a garden, a vegetable garden, and the deer in our neighborhood have gotten so bad, and we live where it's mostly houses and city-like,
Yeah.
and yet somehow there's this little deer population that's grown in the neighborhood, and they're huge. I've never seen deer so big. Like, they are like twice the size of the ones I usually see around, and they have eaten all her vegetables 2 years ago. Or like last year, she had planted all these vegetables and everything, basically got no crops from it because the deer ate them all. She's like, I gotta do some of these deer. So it discouraged her. She didn't even grow anything this year because she's just like, I'm not paying to feed the deer, what's the point? And then I was walking at the Greenway Farms. I don't know if you're familiar with that park, but they've got their own garden that's a private garden. Somebody there owns it and takes care of it and stuff. But they've got like a netting style fence that goes up like 8 feet, and that's what's all around it. And then it hit me the other day. I was like, that's what we need. I'm like, if we want to do a garden, because it's like, it's all enclosed, so it's like you can't have solid because then the sun can't get in. So it's like it's just netted so that the deer can't get in because there's a ton of deer in that park.
Yeah, the netting fence works well. We have that in
some
in
areas.
conjunction with our twisted wire fence to get the height we need.
Yeah.
because you can't buy 10-foot twisted wires.
10-foot isn't a guarantee.
No.
They can jump a
jump high.
10-foot fence.
Yeah,
It's a deterrent.
12-foot is a guarantee, but if you have a 10-foot netting fence and they jump, they're going to go through it at 6 feet. I mean, they're just going to go right through it and knock it down. That's if they're being chased. Like, typically a deer is not going to walk up to a fence and try to jump it unless they're wanting to get out or on a gallop.
Yeah.
So a netting fence would work. In our case, a netting fence sometimes doesn't work because they see me and they run the wrong direction and then they jump into the field through the netting fence and then it's just not going to keep them. But as long as you can keep them from being scared or run, they're not naturally going to just try to go through it. Really. So
Have you tried, because I know they're naturally deterred from certain plants and stuff. So like I know lavender, they do not like lavender. Anything that's like super fragrant, they don't like. So garlic, I've heard onion grass, things like that. But I understand if you don't want to grow garlic next to your tulips.
It wouldn't necessarily,
not good.
because there are a lot of plants that say that they're deer resistant, and the deer will still want to taste them, will still test it, and there's so many deer that
and you'd have to have an entire field of like lavender where they're not going to most likely touch it. You couldn't plant plants around.
it's not going to keep them
They're
from
just
going
gonna
through. They'll just
not eat that plant, but they'll eat everything else. So there is no deterrent.
I was
That's a high
thinking,
fence.
make a high fence, and then you make a fence of lavender, then you make a fence of garlic. That's even more expensive.
If I could snap my fingers and that stuff would just pop up, that would be wonderful. But all that means me planting until...
Yeah, and then that's a huge perimeter too.
Yes.
That would be very expensive.
Yeah.
So I understand.
everything has its challenges. So.
You have problems with anything else? Like, I'm guessing the strawberries are worse because you probably had rabbits and other animals that like those.
Strawberries were worse, but with the crows,
Birds.
the crows were the worst. We could keep the possums out and the raccoons and the deer to a manageable, but the crows you couldn't stop. They would, if 2 or 3 crows are perched up, and we would have them. They're not going to destroy 5 acres of strawberries, but you're going to see a strawberry one night and think tomorrow morning that is a perfect berry to pick and eat. And then you go out there in the morning and there's one little hole from the beak.
Just poke.
Because they got to it. They didn't get to it when it wasn't perfect.
Right.
They came when it was perfect, like I knew it was going to be. And that's when they woke up earlier and they got in there before I did. So that happened. We had to throw away
A lot.
hundreds of gallons of berries because one beak was down in the center of it. I mean, the hole.
Yeah.
It's
They
just
do
frustrating.
say, early bird gets the worm. Early bird gets the strawberry.
Yeah, and I don't know why they wouldn't finish the berry. They would just go to another one then. They would go to
would
another
just
one. They wouldn't
a hole.
just destroy one berry. They would they would put a hole in that one, a hole in this one over here, and you can't scare them away.
Yeah, that's weird. So was
Yeah.
it not like, I guess they weren't eating them?
Yeah, they were just taking a bite out
Taste
of
test
one
of everything.
and then going to another one, and
Oh, that tastes okay. Let me try this one over here.
yeah, they did it for spite, I'm sure.
They're watching you during the day out there sweating, working away, and they're like, tomorrow.
And I think scarecrows are a myth, because I've made many scarecrows that I tried to put out there thinking, well, that's what a scarecrow does.
Right.
It did nothing.
Or they've
for them.
evolved enough, they've learned. They're like, that's
learned.
not a human. I'm not scared of that. What about the other flowers? Do the deer like eating sunflowers?
At a certain stage of the sunflower. So when they get, the nutrients are dense when it's
Small.
young and small, and that's what they're wanting. Once the sunflower gets to a certain stage, they're not going to bite the heads off a sunflower.
Well, they have.
No, not typically. When they're younger is when they're most susceptible to that activity. So you got to keep them out.
Yeah.
We've had them take out a whole field of sunflowers.
We have, yeah. We have lost more crops than we've
By far.
grown successfully.
Wow. If I recall, what was it like the first time you tried growing sunflowers, it didn't work out? Was that?
Well,
or was
nothing
that something
generally
else?
works out.
Trial runs or trial runs.
Sometimes you grow really well a year or two and think, oh, well, we've got this. We know exactly what. And then the following year it's completely wiped out for some reason or another. And you got to wait a whole nother year to try it again and see if you can fix what you did wrong this year.
If you can figure out what you did
You
wrong.
can figure it out, yeah.
Yeah, that's the challenge with farming. You only have, you have less than 40 years, 30 years to actually figure it out. So half of those years,
You only get one shot.
you only get one
every year.
shot every year. So at least half of those years it's not going to work out.
It's a learning process.
So you've whittled down to maybe 15 crops, 12 crops, and that some of those will be really successful and some of those will be so-so. So in your lifetime, you may be able to look back and think of 3 or 4 crops that were like, man, that really worked well. And then it's over.
I think that's why multi-generational farming was, in years past was such a big thing. Like if you could learn from a young age and you had wisdom that was passed down through generations of farming and learning, that makes a huge difference.
And if it's the same property, because then you know the property as well.
And the weather.
Soil
and the
is
same
different,
climate
and that as well.
But when you're just starting fresh like us, you're relying on YouTube.
Apart from like the animals and stuff, like what other challenges have you run into farming?
For a good while it was time, because we were both working full time, and since then the farm definitely got to a place where we needed to decide, to either be here full time or we couldn't continue. Sorry, we have a puppy underneath here, so I was hoping he would be quiet.
He is.
So that was a challenge.
Time. Another challenge was, when we started the farm, it was brand new to us and to the community, of course. So that takes time to build your brand, to build the customer base. So you don't generally make money on a farm for years and years and years. And that's what we have found, what we did find.
We thought we could beat it.
No.
You confirmed that that's true.
You can't. It's very, I'm sure somebody could beat it, a better farmer, but we couldn't beat it. So you have to go into it knowing that you're doing this and you're spending a lot of money and a lot of time and you're gonna get nothing back for many, many years. So we were okay with that.
You do it because we were doing it because we loved it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Which is most businesses.
Yeah.
I think it's like food, service industry businesses have a lower rate of success basically because it's cost and demand and everything is like that margin's so small compared to like other things that you can just jack the price up really high.
That's right.
And so a lot of those businesses fail because what is it, like it takes 5 years or something like that to start making the profit.
They say a farm is 7, and that we found that to be pretty accurate. The uniqueness of a farm is you don't have a commodity that you sell every day.
Right.
You have a one shot.
For us, a seasonal.
Yeah, for us, for the type of farming that we do, well, even vegetables, I guess, but it is a longer season for vegetables. But for like a crop like strawberries, which was maybe 4 or 5 weeks max. Tulips are 3-ish, maybe 4. So you have a very short window, and if you don't get it right, then you've got to invest and spend time and money for the course of the next 12 months to try to do it again. And if you don't make money then, you've got to do it all over again, and you're spending your time and your energy knowing, okay, I'm not getting paid for this. Is it going to work the next year?
Yeah.
And it was building the customers again and the brand and sticking with it that it finally did click. And I mean, I wouldn't change it. I mean, what else? This is, life is about challenges and overcoming adversities and honing in your skills, making yourselves better, helping the community out. So it's, what are we going to do? Sit and watch Netflix all day?
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, this is much better.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll go ahead and start the digging deeper segment. What is one of your favorite tasks that you have to do for the farm? And I'll have each of you answer, what your favorite thing is, because I have a feeling it's different for each of you. Like, what is your favorite job on the farm?
Burning it down, pretty much.
I love I love when I get to plan, ordering the bulbs and deciding on the layout and, it's all, everything is ahead of you and it's all fresh and new and you're starting a new season, and that would be my favorite on the front end, and then
mine
is the back end.
Yeah, mine is when we burn it down, literally.
Burning it down, plowing it under.
Oh yeah, we're getting
I was going to say,
everything.
wait, do you do controlled burn? Or
We've had to call the fire department a time or two. It is, because I don't think you are either. We're never satisfied really on the production. So when everybody sees the farm, I think it's a stunning, beautiful farm that especially with the tulips, that everybody gets so much enjoyment out of. When I look at it, unfortunately, I don't typically like what I see.
We're always focused on the things we did wrong or the things we could have done better.
So we're always talking about the next year, and before the tulips are even out of the ground, what we're going to be doing differently next year or the year after. And then when they come up, we're hopeful, and
It's a little bit of a stressful.
it's stressful, and it's what we see is different than what the customers see. So I'm ready to start all over again,
Right.
every year.
I mean, that
I
makes
can't wait
sense.
to get his tractor out
Yeah.
there and just, have a clean slate.
That makes sense, like,
Uh-huh.
because it's an art form in a way. It's just like you're an artist; they're their own worst critic because it's like you've been through the process. Say you're doing a painting, you're painting. You can see your mistakes. I remember where I accidentally tapped there and I meant to tap
Yes.
here, and all
Yeah.
this. And it's the same thing with farming, where it's like you see the behind the scenes. You've seen every step of the process, so you know where your mistakes were. Well, that wasn't what I had in mind. That didn't turn out
Exactly.
how I had hoped.
Yeah.
The picture in our head is always a little different from what actually comes through.
What would you do differently, knowing what you know now, if you were to start your farm? Like, if you hadn't started at all, and you were to start it tomorrow.
What do we do differently? Well, I would say I would worry less. The Bible tells us that not to worry 365 times, and I have stressed and worried about a lot of stuff that is just out of my control. Weather and all the things that I can't control. So I've lost lots of sleep, and I've stressed way more than I should have, and I'm learning to just be content with whatever comes, and it's in the Lord's hands. And I would definitely, if I could go back and tell myself,
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I feel like farming is one of those things that it's easier to trust God and have faith because, like you said, you can't control like anything. You're not
it's-
controlling the weather. You're not controlling,
Yeah.
if these flowers come up the way they're supposed to or not.
Yeah, all we can do is the best we can.
I can't fix it. We're just gonna go on and do what we know to do. He's so much better at it.
I would worry
He
more.
doesn't.
I should worry more.
And I will worry less.
Why should you worry more? What have you not done that you should?
I don't worry necessarily as much on the farm, but just on a practical note, I would probably do a much better job in fencing and doing that correctly. One of the great advices I got was in business is, try to touch something just one time. And I've touched a fence 1,000. If somebody needs a fence to be put up, I can do it now properly.
We have learned.
We have
We've
learned.
a little bit about fencing.
Yeah.
For sure.
So yeah, just doing things instead of doing them hastily, but putting more of an effort in doing something right.
Well,
from
and
the front end.
the expense of it too. Sometimes you think, we can make do with this, or we can make it work, and it has in some cases. But yeah, a lot of times it would have just been probably smarter on the front end to just really invest.
Yeah.
But it was unknown back then too. How
Yeah,
long,
it's hard
Yeah.
to know which
how long
way to go
will
with
this
that.
work? Will we keep
Right.
doing this?
Yeah, it's just money. It's just paper, digits in a computer screen.
So did you think this was going to be just like a hobby for him sort of thing, and this will just last a couple years, and then we don't
did.
have to worry about a farm?
We did think it was just going to be a side, a hobby, and mostly I thought it would be mostly his hobby and not mine. But I do love it now. I'm so thankful that things have worked out. I would have never imagined that they would work out this way.
Yeah.
I grew up in a farming community in Ohio. Lots of friends that were farmers, and high school had FFA, Future Farmers of America, and I wanted nothing to do with it. I said,
Well,
I
those
will
were-
not be a farmer.
Yep.
Those were 1,000-acre tracts of corn.
It's a little
and
bit different
totally
farming.
different farming. I'm sure they don't even think we're farmers.
Probably.
They're just you're hobbyists.
So yeah.
That makes sense why you didn't want to do farming, because you were surrounded by it growing up. So
Yeah.
it's like you're like, yeah, I want nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Farmer.
Yeah.
I've seen way too much of that. I've had my fill.
I'm very grateful. You just never know that the path the Lord has for you, and I'm super grateful that we are here.
Oh, we love it. Yeah, I
It's a
wouldn't change it.
Great life.
Yeah, we were sitting on the porch a couple days ago drinking our coffee before we were ready to get going, and we were like, okay, so if we have a couple bad years, we are going to do whatever it takes to get back on our feet and do this again.
He's always reassuring me.
Even if I got to go dig a ditch somewhere, I'll do that for a time, and then we're back at doing that.
as long as we can.
Yep.
We're going to keep doing it.
So is your hope or plan to have this be like a generational?
Well, if the kids want to at
If
some
they're
point,
interested in it.
yeah.
If somebody wants to take it over, I'm sure at some point we will gladly hand it over. That's totally up to them. We're not
No.
Don't try to force it on them.
You're
Yeah.
not pushing
No.
anybody into it. It'll be here if they want it, and if not, then
Then it goes away. Then Lorenzen Farm is no more.
Nope.
And that's
Not meaning
okay.
to talk about the death of the farm. Any future plans? Yeah, well, eventually.
And then 100 years from now, there will be a family that is living in this house, hopefully. I have no recollection or no knowledge of the Lorenzen Farm, and there'll be tulips that just pop up here and there. And they'll be like, why do these flowers keep popping up? This must have been a tulip farm or something. It's like, yeah.
Well, is there anything else you would like to add? Anything you want to share? I know you don't want to say too much about your upcoming plans, so.
just keep watching, and we update the website whenever we have something new coming on, and every year we try to do things a little bit different and add some different things. Hopefully it will always be fresh and new and keep people coming back year after year.
Yeah, and you guys do a great job of updating like your Facebook page, Instagram, and all that.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'm learning that too.
It always makes me laugh because you always have something funny to say on those videos.
We try to give a daily report and manage everybody's expectations.
Yeah.
So I don't want anybody to come out of the farm and
Be disappointed.
say, you told me. I know, but I just wanted to get you out here.
Yeah.
No, we don't want to do that.
Although I did catch you doing that this last season. With,
What did I do?
With the summer flowers, you said there's no bugs because I keep the bugs away or something. I was like, that's a lot.
Well, that was just hyperbole.
I know. I just thought it was funny. And I was like, I hope nobody thinks he's serious about it.
Yeah, sometimes it takes a little while to understand my
Have a
humor.
little humor.
I assume everybody knows it.
I'm grateful that he's happy to be in front of the camera.
I'm okay with it.
I'm usually better as the behind the scenes camera girl.
Yeah, that's funny. My wife made me say that. Yeah, and that's why my husband always has to take pictures for me. So I'm like, oh, take a picture of me over here doing this and that, you know. And he's always like, and then once he gets into it and starts doing it, then he starts to enjoy it, you know. And I'm like, okay, we're good. He's like, no, do this, do that. Like, next thing I know, he's having me do like 50 other pictures that I didn't ask for. But he's having fun with it. And that's
Yeah.
why, you know, I'm glad that he's enjoying it and not just begrudgingly like, okay. You know?
Yeah, I can't think of anything else. We love this time of year when we get to actually see people and they come to pick the flowers, and I get to talk to people. I think my favorite thing every year is when people are showing me pictures on their phone of like, oh, I came your first year, or, we've brought my kids every year. And then I know, there's like, it becomes a traditional thing for people. We've had so many marriage proposals out there, so then they get married and then they want to come back every year.
Prom proposals too, and
That makes me happy.
Yeah.
That our little farm has a place in somebody's heart.
Yeah, all the memories and stuff.
That makes up for everything. All the blood, sweat, and tears.
literally.
Yeah, I'm sure.
My tears. He's not crying.
No, but I have the blood and the sweat.
Yeah, for sure.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
All right, that concludes this episode of Behind the Business Chat. Be sure to check out the info below for more links, resources, anything that is related to this episode. And if you're able to like, comment, review this episode, I would really appreciate it. I would love to know what you think. And maybe share it with a friend that you think would enjoy it. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And comment, send me an Instagram DM, an email, anything. Just get in touch. If you have any additional feedback about the show, or is there a local Chattanooga business that you would like to see on the show? Thanks for watching or listening, and I will chat again with you soon.